There's something magical about growing up in the 1970s. Kids had fewer rules, longer afternoons outside, and toys that seemed bigger, louder, and sometimes a little dangerous. Looking back, some of the things we played with would never make it onto store shelves today. They were thrilling, sometimes risky, and unforgettable. Today we're looking at 10 toys from the 70s that would be banned today. 1. The lawn darts, aka jarts. If you grew up in the 70s, you probably remember these heavy, metal-tipped darts. The idea was simple: toss them into a plastic ring target on the lawn. But in reality, they landed just as often in the grass or dangerously close to someone's foot. They caused thousands of injuries before finally being banned in the 1980s. Still, for kids of the time, they were the ultimate backyard challenge. 2. Clackers. 2 acrylic balls on a string that kids swung up and down until they smacked together with a loud clack-clack. They looked harmless, but these things could shatter or even bruise wrists and foreheads if you weren't careful. In schoolyards everywhere, you could hear that sharp clicking sound echoing. They were trendy, they were fun, and they were a little painful, which is why you won't find them sold today. 3. Creepy crawlers with superheated ovens. Mattel's creepy crawlers let kids pour liquid plastic into metal molds and then heat them up in a tiny oven to make bugs and monsters. The problem? That little toy oven could reach over 300 degrees. Many kids got burns, and the fumes from the plastic weren't exactly safe to breathe. Still, for a lot of kids, it felt like you were creating your very own Frankenstein lab right in the kitchen. 4. Slip and slide on hard lawns. Nothing said summer like a slip and slide stretched across the grass. You'd run, dive, and go skimming across the wet plastic. The danger? Hard lawns, hidden rocks, and the fact that older kids and adults sometimes used them, which the slide was never built to handle. While the company added warnings later on, for kids of the 70s, the slip and slide was pure backyard joy, with a few bruises along the way. 5. The water wiggle. This strange toy connected to a garden hose and featured a long plastic tube with a goofy face on the end. Once the water turned on, it whipped around wildly, spraying everything in sight. It was hilarious, unpredictable, and downright dangerous. Kids often got tangled up in the hose, and the nozzle's thrashing power caused more than a few injuries. But for a while, it was a must-have for summer fun. 6. Shrinky dinks in the original ovens. Shrinky dinks were sheets of plastic that kids colored, then baked until they shrank into small charms. The early versions often went into the same kitchen ovens families used for food. That meant little hands reaching into hot ovens and breathing in chemical smells. Despite the risks, the moment you opened the oven and saw your artwork shrunk down was pure magic. 7. Chemistry sets with real chemicals. In the 1970s, chemistry sets often came with actual chemicals, acids, flammable powders, and glass beakers. Kids were encouraged to experiment at home, and many did. The problem, of course, was that these sets could be genuinely dangerous if misused. For a generation of curious kids, though, it sparked a lifelong love of science, even if it sometimes set off a smoke alarm. 8. BB guns and pellet rifles. By the 70s, toy aisles often featured BB guns marketed as starter rifles for kids. The ads made them look like harmless fun, but these little guns packed enough punch to break windows, or worse. Many neighborhoods had their own BB gun battles, and parents didn't always know. It was the Wild West of backyard play, something that would never pass toy safety laws today. 9. Super elastic bubble plastic. This was a strange, colorful goo that kids squeezed out of a tube and blew into balloons using a little straw. It looked like magic, soft, stretchy bubbles you could shape and toss around. The problem? The goo was made of toxic chemicals that gave off strong fumes, and kids often inhaled them while blowing. It disappeared from shelves once people realized the risks, but for 70s kids, it was unforgettable. 10. The Evel Knievel Stunt Cycle. One of the coolest toys of the 70s was the Evel Knievel wind-up stunt bike. Kids would crank it up, release, and watch it soar off ramps and across sidewalks. The danger? The bikes were fast, heavy, and often sent flying in unpredictable ways. Crashes were part of the fun, but a lot of kids walked away with scrapes and bruises. Still, it captured the daredevil spirit of the decade better than any other toy. Outro. Looking back, these toys remind us of a time when play felt a little freer and sometimes a little riskier. They may not have been the safest, but they gave kids of the 70s memories that have lasted a lifetime. Which one of these toys do you remember most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more trips down memory lane.